Hello guys and girls, this is of course Nick Dutch back on the camera again and blah 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 blah. Hi there, how the heck's it going? And we're just continuing with the war on mental videos basically. And this is one which I haven't seen before. It's called The War in Heaven '01 hyphen Is It Real?
The reptilians, the Anunnaki, and the war in heaven. Okay. Now, this is a particularly fascinating subject for me, and one that I think is very important. Now,
in what way is it very important?
The details about the war in heaven, and what I'm talking about is, Star Wars sort of stuff. I'm talking about just real war, real spaceships, real civilizations duking it out.
Star Wars was fiction. You do know that, don't you?
In real-time physical universe history. It's been
physical universe history. Who has written this history? The wonderful thing about history is that there is evidence normally written down through historical records, anything from accounting journals to the writings of politicians to the versions of the popular press that they had at those times, and we actually have evidence from archaeology to back it up. Now, where is your evidence of this history?
Going on for thousands and thousands, if not millions, of years into our galactic history, okay? Civilizations have been thriving, advanced civilizations have been thriving in our galaxy for millions of years, okay? Now, what...
Advanced civilizations. Okay.
They do. What do people do? What do beings do? They do all the things that we see us do here on Earth as a microcosm. They do all that as the macrocosm. So,
are you sure that's not just isn't the phrase an anthropological? What's the phrase? You know, when you apply everything that humans do to something else, like when someone looks at a rock which looks vaguely human-like and they see a human face in it, that sort of thing.
When two little kids, they're 5 years old, and hey, let's play cowboys and Indians. Let's play cops and robbers. And you play fighting. It's a game when you're a child and nobody gets hurt.
And so what's your point?
Well, it kind of started out that way long, long ago in a universe that's higher in density and higher vibration.
Higher in density. Okay, so that would mean heavier. That would mean more dense. That would mean like worse than lead. That would mean like black hole type matter all around you. So what is the evidence of this high density? Or don't you actually know the meanings of the words that you're using? If you were trying to describe this in a vaguely spiritual term, you might call it a fine matter or some kind of spiritual essence. That would probably actually be, ironically, more factually accurate than calling it more dense.
You could play these war games, and it was all fun and play, and nobody got hurt.
So there were aliens like made out of lead who were playing cowboys and Indians. Yeah, right.
Because pain did not exist in those planes of existence.
So there was no pain. So they were going into the war to hurt each other, and there was no pain.
And it was all pretend. It was like imaginary. It's like 3D. It's like holodeck. Really.
So these beings, like made of lead, were fighting each other, but they weren't because it was all inside their own heads.
Okay. So we get to play all this stuff. And everything we're doing in this physical universe, we've been doing in higher universes for a long, long time.
Right, and we've got documentation from those days when we were in these higher universes? I think not.
No. That said, let's just look at the war in heaven or the war in the cosmos, the war in our galaxy. Okay.
Okay, so you said heaven, cosmos, and the galaxy. These are different things, okay? Heaven is like a spiritual realm which might or might not exist, but some people say is a representation of the astral plane and so on and so forth, but there's questions about that, not answers. Then there is the cosmos, which is the entire universe, our universe, not another universe. And then there's the galaxy, which is our galaxy, the Milky Way, which is physical and within our universe already. So essentially, what on earth are you talking about? Where is this universe made of lead somewhere in the imagination of these things which are fighting, which might not be?
You can believe this or not. It's just
I think you know what I'm going to do with that.
a story. There's no way I'm ever going to prove it to anybody here on Earth. You know, it's like,
Yeah, apart from the fact that you're sitting here telling the story.
you select your stories, select your sources, hear what they have to say, and you decide for yourself what's true or not true.
That I'm gonna do, okay? There's nothing gonna stop me from selecting what I see fit as being true and not true, taking into account the garbage that you're spewing.
That's what I do. Now, some of the best references I've gotten and stories I've gotten about the galactic history is from Robert Morningsky. He's got a thing called the Terra Papers, and he explains evolutionary process. Evolution does occur, right? I'm not a Darwinian guy, but you start.
So wait a second. You say evolution happens, but you're not a Darwinian guy. How many self-contradictory phrases are you going to use in this one particular video? I mean, it's almost like the people who are watching this are going to like hear all these different points suggesting too many different things simultaneously. They're going to apply to it whatever they want to, and they may end up thinking, oh, the guy's right, because what they're doing is they're confirming what they think through some of the keywords that you're using here. But they're all self-contradictory. This is a study of the oxymoron, this is the self-contradictory words. And you don't look unintelligent, so maybe you've actually planned this.
With something small, and you build and build upon it, and you build an entire planet, a life form, by starting out small.
Sorry, there's a difference between a planet and a life form. I'm sorry, I have to break that to you, but there is a difference between a planet and a life form.
At the same time, there is the prime creator involved in the creation of stuff, and it can be done.
Okay. Now you're going into classical deism, which suggests that there is a creator and then he's stop being involved, okay? Which I don't subscribe to. And also, you're trying to say that evolution is something small getting bigger rather than things changing to the environment in which they're placed, thanks to natural selection. If you could just get your stories right, that will make life a lot easier.
Many different ways. And life on planets can be seeded or implanted by an advanced civilization. It's not God.
Okay. Implanting is when you take something and you put it into another organism. Okay? The word seeding is used in some forms of abiogenesis to suggest that there is some kind of primitive chemical matter that may have landed on the planet, and then that then became part of the fabric of life, and then RNA and DNA could have developed from that, and from that you get the lower life forms, and then so on and so forth. Okay? Again, you're not really using words correctly. You're using them in self-contradictory ways, in manners which are scientifically inaccurate and factually inaccurate, and basically don't make all that much in the way of sense to any normal person who's listening.
It's not prime creator. A planet can be terraformed, and a planet...
How can a planet be terraformed? How can you change the position of the mountains and the oceans?
Can be... life can be put on that planet, and it can be put on that planet at any stage of that biological life form's evolutionary cycle.
No, a biological life form and a planet are two different things. Although the idea of the planet being a living thing is something which was created as a result of various different movements within human life, we can't necessarily say that the planet itself is a living thing. It has life on it. Some people would say that the boundary between the individual and the outer world is kind of like mixed, just like you got your blood cells in the plasma of the blood. Therefore, the blood is one whole organism, if you get, or one whole organ. That's one way of putting it, and so therefore I can breathe the air is around me, so yes, there would be a argument to use that allegorically, but of course we can also experience separation and individuality as individual human beings. So you've got your stories wrong.
This is my understanding of it. It's my sense of how things work. So, and you don't have to believe it.
It's your sense of how things work, but you don't even understand the meanings of the words that you're using. Therefore, you're not making any sense to yourself, let alone anybody else on the face of the planet. So I'll choose not to believe it if you don't mind terribly.
I'm just saying this is not an argument here. This is a presentation, a point of view. Okay.
Nah, it's not a point of view. It's lots of point of views thrown in together so that you can't really distinguish which one is real and which one is not, because basically you're talking shit.
All right. So what's this got to do with Anunnaki and the Draconians? Well,
I really have been looking forward to someone saying that today.
the Draconians, they're called Draco, or Drake, it's from dragon, and the advanced civilization, long, long ago, millions of years ago.
The word draconian just like means severe, really, okay? It's not the name of a type of being. Alright? Just like the word super means something special in some ways, or big, or magnificent, or great. It is not actually the name of a type of being. Alright? Just, it isn't. You know, you don't understand English. You're very articulate, but you don't understand English.
A race evolved, and the life form predominantly, instead of being a mammal, was reptilian. And the reptilian life form that evolved over millions and millions of years became the dragon, what we know as a dragon. You know, with a snout and a pointy tongue and eyes and big wings and a long tail and all this stuff. Very advanced life form.
So he believes that dragons really exist. Isn't that sweet? He's like a 50 or 60-year-old man, for Christ's sakes.
Okay. Now, in a very advanced life form, what's the point of a very advanced life form? It's got a very advanced brain. It's got very advanced eyes, smell, organs of perception, touch.
No, just if it... Oh, God. A being that's advanced does not necessarily have super senses. Alright? By illustration, the humankind have evolved with quite big brains so that we can have vocabulary and much more dexterity with our limbs. Alright? We've got a good grasp of language and the ability to change, and we're very plastic, malleable creatures who can adjust to different circumstances. This is what has made us super evolved, so to speak. But a hawk has got better eyesight than I have, and a hawk is a very primitive creature with a very primitive brain. My cat has a better sense of smell than I have, but my cat's brain is a little smaller than mine. Okay? So when something is advanced, it doesn't mean to say it has superior senses and eyes and wings and oh, bloody hell. I mean, crikey. We are advanced creatures. But we are advanced within a certain environment, and we have the capacity to actually mold our environment to our needs. That's why we can build buildings. Alright? I don't have the eyes of a hawk. I don't have the sense of smell of a cat or a dogfish. If you look at the brain of a dogfish, it's got like really large lumps on the side, and that's essentially the olfactory sense. A dogfish has got incredibly powerful sense of smell. Okay? Which we humans don't. We are pathetic by comparison with a fish, if you're talking about senses. I mean,
eyes, ears, smell, taste, all this stuff. And brain, okay? Brain being the hardware or the wetware for the software being the mind.
Which, in your case, you have not got. I think I've seen enough for now. I mean, this is like it's a 12-minute 59-second video. I'm up to 4-minute 36 in it, and I'm gonna play with a cat that is, by his standards, because of its heightened sense of smell, a superior being.